Good morning, Zero Pence here. Now, in front of you is a Half Hunter pocket watch. It dates back to the First World War and beyond a little bit. I think it was about I think it's 1900, something like that. You can see it's quite an attractive pocket watch. I've had it for a long time. I've had this pocket watch since I was 16 years old. So nearly 50 years. It's got a silver case, all hallmarked. Still works very well. Has a crack in the glass, which has been there since Doomsday. So, but you can hardly see it. I think you can pick it up now. I've just pulled it out of my box because I came across it, and I thought, maybe there's a video in this. When I left school, I was 15 years old, and it was 1969, and in 1970 I entered an apprenticeship as an apprentice watchmaker in Ilford. I didn't take to it like a duck to water, shall we say, but I learnt a lot in the time that I was there, and an appreciation for fine things, especially where watches are concerned. Now, I had the opportunity to buy this watch, as I say, when I was 16 years old. It was bought in, and basically it was left. No one collected it, so I had it. And I've still got it. It's got the chain that's on it is silver, but it's Indian silver, and it's from the time of the Raj, which I thought was very fitting to put on this watch. So, and I know the person that I got it off of, that the gentleman had been in the First World War. So it was 1970 when I bought this, so you can imagine. And he'd just died, and I think he was in his 90s when he died. So he'd have been, I don't know, about 20 maybe, when he was wearing this watch, and he was an officer. So I thought, brilliant. And when the opportunity to buy that chain came up about 20 years later, I thought, great, because both of the things had been in the army. This one had been in the Indian army, the army of the Raj, as they say, and owned by an officer, solid silver, Indian silver, and the case on this watch is solid silver. So it's quite a high status watch as such, and I can tell you the name of it, but my eyes are quite wafty in this light. Rennings, but I'll have to get the magnifying glass out. I just want to give you a nice clear shot of it. I do like this watch, as I say. Now I want to show you the transition from this to this. Now, this is a wristwatch that cost me £10 because I use it for camping and stuff like that. I've got as I say, I've got expensive watches. I've got mechanical watches of all types, but I don't want to wear them for the simple reason I've got one that's 70 years old, a wristwatch, 70 years old, and I wouldn't want to wear that out. It's and it's a really nice one as well. I've got a Timex as well that's quite old, but as I say, the transition from this to this and how it happened. Now, if you was an officer in the First World War, which, believe it or not, that's where the wristwatch comes from, you will be carrying this in your tunic or a pocket, and if you had to check the time more than once a day, which you did, you had to check it when you got runners coming in, what time they arrived and what time. There's no radios, so this, you relied on a runner, what time you sent him and you logged it down, and what time you expected him back, and you knew how fast your fastest runner was. Now, I know this sounds like rubbish now, but then it was a very serious matter to send a runner out and bring him back, and you was looking at your watch. And if you was trying to do stuff like stay alive, you didn't want to go ferreting about in your pockets. You know, you wanted your watch somewhere else, and some of them wore them like the nurses did, so that they could look down and see them, and that wasn't satisfactory at all, because they were bumping into things and they got smashed. And one guy, I think he was a guardsman officer, came up with the idea of getting a saddler to make him a leather container strap to go on his wrist to hold his watch, and they were known as wristwatch straps, and it was the strap that named the watch. And that was the first wristwatch war, and it was a pocket watch worn on a wrist, hence the description wristwatch and not pocket watch. And that's where it come from. It come from the First World War. There's other stories of how they got it, but the most prevalent other one was that it ended up with the Royal Flying Corps making them extremely popular, and the Americans took it and like ran with it and came up with the actual wristwatch. But wristwatches didn't exist until the First World War. I believe there's a poem, and it says about the officer looking pensively at his wristwatch, and I think it comes from round about 1914, 1915. Well, this is how they were made. You can see it's a thing, and that's how you got from that to that. Now I'm going to go away and do a few cuts, and this line here, you turn it over and score it, and then your outer line of stitches will go in there, and this will be moulded, looped up, and the watch will fit in it. So right, there's the piece cut out, and this has been marked out for stitching, and also on the back it's been marked out for cutting and scoring. Don't worry about it looking rough because I'm going to tidy that up. But there it all is. That goes together, and that goes together like that. That's stuck on there, and that's glued on. The opening is there, just like a wristwatch. Actually, it's that way up, and the pocket watch goes on there and turns it into a wristwatch. And when I've done that, I'll be back. Now, here it is. It's been sewn on. You can see sewn on the back, and it's been wetted down. And now, and I've eased these corners up with my hands because there is a score mark on the inside of this lever, and it's pulled it round. And I'm going to fit the wristwatch. Now, as you can see, it's not little. That is a half hunter anyway, but it fits comfortably on your wrist. And I've just tried it out. Unfortunately, I haven't got a tripod. My daughter borrowed it, so unfortunately I haven't got it at the moment. But this is, as you can see, fitting in there really nicely. Now, I had to run a paintbrush and shoehorn it in there with a paintbrush, but as you can see, it's in there and it is not going anywhere. And the next thing to do is cut out the lid, because they had a lid over the top of them to protect the watch and to protect the face from shrapnel and other crap. But there is the finished item, shoehorned in. Now for the finishing bits, and obviously this has been wetted, or it won't go in otherwise. And when that dries, that will be absolute, and it's silver, so I ain't got to worry about it tarnishing, or what. I haven't got to worry about it corroding it, because it won't touch silver. And that's it. And it's not wet enough to affect the mechanism or anything like that. So I'm well and truly happy with that. And next time you see this, it should look a little bit different, but not too much. I'll go over what I'm going to do and show you. Watches. Well, in front of me are two little woggle things, if you want. You have to, when you put these together, you have to scaff the ends, which means you have to cut them at a slope and put them together so that they don't bunch up. And you can see it's been done there on the end. This is the completed with the lid. Here's the watch, and this wasn't an unusual size, because you was putting your timepiece, probably your favourite timepiece, on your wrist. Now what I'm going to do is put these on and show you how it clips down. Right, there it is on a wrist, and if I open up this, clip that open, here's the watch. And seeing as it was the First World War where they were used, and these watch harnesses were made, there you are, the first wristwatch. So there it is, 0 pence, saying hope you liked it, and catch you later.